Hello, my friends. This is Dr. Jimmy, and until quite recently, tonight was Friday the 13th. But now it's past midnight, so technically it's very early in the morning of Saturday the 14th. Like that ever stopped Jason. If it turned midnight when he was killing people, did he stop and say, "Oh, I'm sorry, it's midnight now, I'm not going to kill you anymore"? No, he just keep on slaughtering. He didn't know anything like, technicality. As far as he's concerned, it's the same night. And like Jason, I have the same thought. Although I shouldn't evoke Jason because after all, you know, one thing you're never supposed to do with Jason is to smoke or drink or do drugs or engage in premarital sex. I'm not going to be doing drugs or smoking or engaging in premarital sex in this video, but the drinking, yes. Jason? Is that you? No, it's not him. If Jason bursts through that door, I will be so out of here. I mean, zip bang. Zip bang, like a roadrunner, beep beep. But technically, no, I won't go there. I won't go there. That would be just, that's TMI. All right, let's get back to it. Tonight, on this Friday the 13th, or what's left of it, I enjoyed a lovely, lovely evening at Universal Orlando Halloween Horror Nights 27. I did all 9 houses, and I saw Bill and Ted's Excellent Halloween Adventure. I could have done more stuff. I could have gone back into a couple more houses, but I thought it'd be best to get home and make you a lovely cocktail. So here I am. Also, Lenny is going to want to see me. I'm sure she'll pop up at some point. She gets very possessive. I'm surprised she isn't already in here. Maybe she's over there checking out. When the door in this room, when I open this room back up, she likes to go stalking. She thinks there's always a lizard or something lurking about. At any rate, here we are. And tonight's cocktail will be for the Festival of the Deadliest. But first, let me show off the lovely t-shirt. This is one I just got yesterday at City Walk, outside of Universal Studios Florida. It's part of Universal Orlando Resort. So this is a Halloween t-shirt sold at Universal Orlando Resort, and yet is not a Halloween Horror Nights t-shirt, because they sell Halloween t-shirts every year at both Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville and at the Hard Rock Cafe. So there's some other Halloween shirts out there from Universal that aren't necessarily from Horror Nights. That's kind of interesting. And I always like going to Margaritaville because I say, "Hello, I'm Jimmy, where's my buffet?" No, that's Jimmy Buffett. It's not a buffet. Oh, it's not a buffet? I thought it was an all-you-can-eat buffet. Oh. I'm Jimmy, that's my name, so I should be allowed to have my buffet. It says on the sign, it's my buffet, I should be able to eat all I can. And God knows I can eat a lot. No, kidding. I don't actually say that because that would be stupid. This is the Flocking Dead. It says Flocking Dead, and it shows a sort of margarita there. And it says Orlando. On the back of the shirt we have the flock, misspelled, flock of parrots, of course. Jimmy Buffett's associated with parrots and parrot heads, as they're called. And we have the Flocking Dead. We see the parrots there with some zombie masks, and they're drinking margaritas, and they have a shaker of salt there as they're enjoying their Halloween with all the pumpkins and everything. That's quite lovely. Get down a bit so it all gets in the camera. I don't know if it all got in the camera. Hopefully it's a nice t-shirt. And I guess they're looking for their lost shaker of salt. Yeah, because there's a woman to blame. But in my case, fuck no. It's what woman? It's me. No. Oh. Diddly ding dong, I forgot the little shot glass. You need that to measure it. So let me be right back. And no, I'm not drunk already. I'm not drunk already. I didn't do a lot of drinking at Horror Nights because I have to drive back home. When I first get there early in the evening, I like to stop and have a cocktail, and I had a very nice one at Cowfish, and then after that there was a beer and at the Cowfish with the food I had, and then after that I had nothing in the park at all as far as alcohol is concerned. As I was leaving, I got some Powerade to hydrate with, and that's it. And that was hours and hours before I left, because that was like 5:30, 6 o'clock when I had the cocktails, and I left, you know, just a short minute ago. So, yeah, lots of time. So that's all I bother with there. So no, I'm just a little tired, that's all. If I seem a bit out of sorts, I'm a little bit tired. But I do have to make this video for you, as I promised. So, Festival of the Deadliest is the Scarezone we're going to be featuring, inspired by the Scarezone Creator Cocktail. And it took me a long time to figure it out, but then I realized the Festival of the Deadliest is the ritual of blood and bone. And of course, the Grand Reaper is named Bone himself, and the Lord Reaper there. And I was thinking, I was actually in Antojitos in City Walk the other day, and I saw those little tequila bottles shaped like skulls, and I thought, oh, that's clever. Maybe one of those will work. But when I went to look for one at the Total Wine shop earlier, they didn't have the skull bottles. They had some skull bottle vodka, but I didn't think that was quite appropriate. I needed something a little different than that. And so I continued searching, and then I found the perfect thing. It is tequila. It's not, the bottle's not shaped like a skull, but oh my goodness, it's got a lovely label and imagery of skulls. This is Tequila Exotico, and specifically Tequila Exotico Blanco, which is clear, which also means it's not aged. Respovado or whatever is aged in the oak barrels and has a more golden color. This one, though, is Blanco, and it has a lovely picture, sort of Dia de Muerta, Day of the Dead skull, but you know, that's Bone looks like that. He's got a little decorations on his skull. It's very similar, not identical, but very similar to the way Bone looks, all the little skulls on the cap. So I thought this would be a good start. So the first ingredient to Festival of the Deadliest, the cocktail of blood and bone, yes, would be the bone part. So let's get boned, sort of, yeah. The cocktail, I mean. Yes, we're going to drink a cocktail and then get boned. No, that's not what I mean. But here we go. So here's the lovely, put some of the tequila, and then we pour it into the cocktail shaker. And a little bit of spillage, of course. God dang it. And did I bring some papery towels? There's some papery towels. I can use these to wipe up some spillage. So, and also condensation of the cocktail shaker full of ice. Alright, so that's the bone. Where's the blood going to come from? And I was very careful looking around until I found a bright ingredient. And, you know, I thought about obvious things, but then I thought, let's find something that's specific to blood. And after careful searching, I found this lovely stuff, and it's a type of vodka. Okay? It's 3 Howells vodka, but specifically 3 Howells Blood Orange vodka. Yes, 3 Howells comes in a lot of different varieties, and it's got a woofy woof on it. And of course, there are no wolves to my knowledge in the Festival of the Deadliest. There's like a deer boy with antlers, and the other people with antlers, and crow face, got a bird face. I think there might be 1 or 2 have maybe a wolf skull on, and one that kind of has a snout. There might be a wolf skull in there. So maybe there is something woofy in the festival after all. But they're all skulls, though, animal skulls of different types, the minions, some of the more human skulls. But this is important, though, because of the blood orange. Therefore, we have blood and bone, right? So this will be representing the blood part. Plus, it's got a lovely flavor and citrus smell. So I put then the blood orange vodka from 3 Howells, which comes from Oregon, I believe. And then we pour that into the cocktail shaker. There we go. Now, the tequila, of course, comes from Mexico. I think it comes from, is it Jalisco? Jalisco, Mexico. And this is the 3 Howells. And oh, by the way, it says here, blood orange with hints of rose. That makes it even more appropriate for the Festival of the Deadliest. All the roses along with the skulls that appeared on the website before. So yeah, and let's see. No, it's from not Oregon. It's from Seattle, Washington. That's it. We're 1 state up. So, but it is in the Pacific Northwest. But it's 1 state up. It's Seattle, Washington. You know, where Fraser used to be. Right, that's right. Scrambled eggs all over the place. Yes, that's it. So, we got that. Now, both of those spirits are clear. Are we going to have a clear white cocktail, a see-through cocktail? No, we're not. Not for the Festival of Blood and Bone, not for the Festival of the Deadliest. No, 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 no. We need some colour. Some colour. So, I'm going to put some colour into this glass, about that much. And this is grenadine. It's the same sort of grenadine I've used before, this one, which is Master Mixes grenadine syrup. Quite nice. A little bit of that. Grenadine syrup, throw that in there. And that should be, I thought about tomato juice, but nah, I didn't want to do that, because it wouldn't go well with the flavor of the orange, the blood orange. And I thought about other things like Campari, but I've used that so many times recently, I needed to do something different. And I used the raspberry syrup a couple of times recently too, in a couple of different cocktails, both for, I think, The Shining as well as for Blumhouse. So this, I think I did, I don't remember, but anyway, of course it's going to come out more pink than red, but still it's got some color to it to make it a lovely Festival of the Deadliest, the cocktail Blood and Bone. And the pinkish color is exactly what I wanted. Why? It evokes the tint of bloodberry wine, which was what the original specialty drink for Horror Nights was called when they started the whole Blinky Cup thing back in 2005. And they kept the same specialty drink, basically a mixture of rums and fruit juices, and a pinkish color it ended up being. It's sort of like a rum runner. And usually they started adding energy drinks of various sorts, all the way up to the year 2014, I believe. I think it was 2014. I think it was 2015 when they changed up the recipe for the first time by mixing some other items, and it came out sort of a greenish color. And they've been doing that ever since, making all sorts of different. This year they have all these different types of specialty drinks, a sort of dark purple one and a bright orange one, and you could drink them at the same time with the double thing. But this looks like, in color at least, it evokes the color of the bloodberry wine, and so I thought that was important because the whole festival of Blood and Bone evokes Terra Cuentis in a big way. That whole Scarezone reminds me of 2005, right down to using sexy dancers on poles, which is something they used to do back then, and I think the last time I ever saw that was 2006. But the whole environment of Festival of the Deadliest is just like right out of Terra Cuentis, and so much of the event this year seems to bring up the event of 2015. Not 2015, 2005, 12 years ago. And I can't help but wonder if there's some sort of, is that 12 years ago? Should be, yeah. I wonder if there's some sort of harbinger toward the year 2020, when the 15-year cycle will be complete. Will the Terra Queen return? I hope so, I really do. But I don't know that for a fact, it's just my hopes. So, here it is, the cocktail of Blood and Bone, which also looks like bloodberry wine. Thus I chose a special chalice, well, fancier than the other cocktail. It's a good one. That's a very interesting. Yeah, I knew that particular tequila would be strong, but it's not bad for mixing with cocktails. And but you can definitely feel it has a bit of a kick, and mixed with the blood orange vodka, which does have a slight floral note of rose, as well as the grenadine, which gives it a little bit of a pomegranate and cherry as well. So they all come together, and of course a little bit of a spicy finish, which comes just from the tequila, which always has a slightly spicy finish to it, even though it usually isn't spiced. Sometimes I had one recently that actually had jalapeno added to it. Damn, that's like, you put a match in front and you breathe and, that's how you feel, like you're going to be breathing fire, like some sort of, it's like Princess Dragon Boobs got in front of you and said, Dracarys, and then you go, because she's the mother of dragons. Or was it the mother of drag queens? I don't know. That's someone else entirely. As I said, Princess Dragon Boobs instead of Daenerys Targaryen, the unburnt, breaker of chains, mother of dragons, because of Bill and Ted. And she became a running gag, and I'm glad she's in the show this year too. I mean, she became a running gag for many years, Princess Dragon Boobs as they call her, and she does show up again with Figment. Oh, because, it's nice to see that, because old school Epcot is like disappearing like Bill and Ted is disappearing. Thanks for the memories. Or for Daenerys, thanks for the memories. And, not that I really go in for that sort of thing. The Bill and Ted show, in that scene, it's like I barely notice her because the guy playing Ed Sheeran. Now, the joke that Ed Sheeran had the bit, had a cameo appearance on Game of Thrones one episode this past season. So he comes out there with like a minstrel of this little red wig, and it's supposed to be Ed Sheeran, and then it rips off the breastplate and the shirt, and yeah, Ed Sheeran wishes he looked like that. That guy, his body is a lot sexier than any Ed Sheeran. I mean, Ed Sheeran's kind of soft and pudgy, and he's also got too many tattoos now. And this guy who does that, I don't know his name, but damn, he's much better looking than Ed Sheeran in physique, and he's got like one of those 8-packs. And I don't think Ed Sheeran has an 8-pack. I think he's just got a pack like I do. I'd have an ab, not abs, one ab. I think I made that joke the other day. Oh. But how do I get talking about Bill and Ted show? That should be for a different video. This is about Festival of the Deadliest, but that's the theme of the whole Ding Dong event. Right, so it's not just the Scarezone, but the Scarezone is lovely. I just sit, many nights I've just sat in the Scarezone for an hour or more, watching the casters come and go. On a rainy night, to see them walking around without the stilts, and Lord Bone has to wear the little hood, and when he wears a little hood and he's not on his stilts and he's shorter, looks for all the world like Skeletor. And I keep expecting some big blonde muscle dude to come running out with a sword and go, you know, not really a sword, but it's close enough, by the power of Grayskull. Or maybe to be more, hey, in this day and age where we're not going to cast role models based on gender, why not, for the honor of Grayskull? And he could be She-Ra. Hey, he could, like, you know, why should Adam always become He-Man? Let Adam, you know, go trans and become She-Ra for a change. Why not both? That would be neat. They had a hero like that who could switch back and forth between a male hero and a female heroine, and back in the 70s, except they weren't actually the same. Were they the same person with just two different bodies, a male and female body, and they could change back and forth and become... That's an interesting superpower, to be able to switch genders at will. I think it was named Star Fox. No, Star Fox was Eros. I don't remember what his name is. But he had these big solar sets. He was part of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Wasn't Star-Lord, of course. That was somebody else. But there was somebody, and the woman was actually his wife, but they were sharing the same body for a while, so they would turn back and forth, and they would share the same memories. I can't remember what it was. Like a blue costume with big yellow fins came out of his head, and I think it was the Guardians. That was back in like the early 80s or late 70s. But yeah, I don't know how I got to that either. Get distracted by my own anecdotes. What the hell was I talking about that got me on the comics there? I don't know. And I'm not going to rewind to find out what I was talking about. But I do have a Lenny cat right over here, and she's a little sweetheart. And yes, I heard her. Did you hear that? That was a cat. Is that a good cat? That's a good cat. Oh my goodness. You can't quite see her. She's just outside of the range of the... You can see her tail, though. That was her tail. And she's meowing. Maybe I can call her up here. Come up here. Come up here. Come up here, kitty. You can come up by Jimmy. There's Lenny. Hello, Lenny. There she is. She's more inclined to do that sort of thing than Bob ever was, so it's very easy to coax her up because she's a much more affectionate cat in some ways. Who's a little kissy cat. She's a kissy cat. You're going to spill my... You drop my stuff on the floor. I need to do that work tomorrow morning. Oh well. So, that's a cat interlude. Again, continuing. I thought I drank that already. Yeah, I poured more in because there was more in the cocktail shaker. Actually, it's quite good. Quite good. The flavors all work quite well. The tequila softened by the blood orange and the rose hints and the vodka and the grenadine works very well. You don't realize while you're drinking it that you're being reaped. Yes, because it's sort of seductively, and after you're done, then it's like, oh fuck, I've been reaped. Here I am, I'm dead now. And that's what I want to talk about. There was lovely moments, because the festival, the Deadliest, it started out a little bit questionable, because there were like all those sets and nothing on them, with aluminium poles just sort of standing there. And I made the gag before it even began, Deadite Festivus, not realizing the poles are going to be, there really are aluminium poles on the sets. And then, of course, I figured those have to be stripper poles. And then after a weekend or two, oh, the girls were out dancing. That's good, especially after they moved. Once they moved Academy of Villains to the main stage, or what facsimile of the main stage that they've moved it to, and then they put the centerpiece set and fires coming out of that. Now, and the big torches up in the front with the big bone and skull things that are there now, that was all quite a lot. So they've added to it the bit by bit since the opening weekend, and it's much more impressive, and every once in a while something new happens. And I see some new cast members there. Of course, it could just be what happens when you get halfway through the event. Some people drop out, some people come in, some people get sick, someone else has to sub. So it's interesting because sometimes I see different people there than the ones I normally see. But it's always a lot of fun. There's a young lady, I've seen her for years. She's a scare actor for years, and she's missing her arm. I don't know if she was just born with only an arm down to her elbow, which is possible. It could be, you know, some sort of birth defect, or it could be that it had to be amputated, but her arm only goes up to here, you know. So, and it's always wonderful to see the shock on guests' faces when they realize that she actually is missing one arm. And, you know, and she is in your face with that stump. She goes, ah, and points it up at people. And some people are like a little embarrassed. Should they acknowledge it? And, you know, how are they going to react? And that just is so precious because, you know, that's what she's doing. She's fucking with people, you know. I just love that. We've seen her for years. I think the first time I noticed her, she was a zombie in 2013 when everything was Walking Dead. And then when I first saw her, I thought, oh, that's prosthetic. Then I realized, oh, God, no, she is missing an arm. But it's like, you know, a zombie could easily be missing an appendage. So it was like, oh, that's cool, you know. But she's come back in all sorts of characters, and it's just so much fun to see her because she is fierce. Oh, God. And she gets up on the stage, and she dances, and she jumps off, and she gets in people's faces. I love that character. She's just wonderful. All the minions of Blood and Bone are terrific, and I love watching them. And some of them scare me, and that's hard to do. I'm sitting on a bench watching everything, and one of them gets right up behind me and goes in my ear. It's like, oh, fuck. You got me. I didn't even know you were back there. And there was this one girl She had a full skull mask and kind of a hoodie sort of thing. And she got me good one time. And I wanted to go and tell the people in black with the little tiny lightsabers which one it was that did such a good job scaring me. And please, give her a boo-buck or something. I think that's what they call them. Give her some, not because she did a good job and I was really impressed with her, but I never got a chance because the cast change happened and they were all gone. Damn. So if you're out there, I really appreciated what you did that night. You got me wonderfully. You probably know who you are if you're watching this. And another thing happened a few nights ago that was just poetic, just absolutely elegiac, and it just delighted me. It was a kind of a rainy night, and a couple of the minions of Blood and Bone, as they call them. There's like men and women, and they're like, sometimes they're wearing more skimpy clothing, sometimes they're covered up, and they have usually some kind of skull bone mask or appendage. And there were a couple of them out in the middle of the street who suddenly, spontaneously broke into a sort of waltz. And they were dancing together in this sort of Totentanz or Danse Macabre, dance of death in the streets, doing a sort of valse macabre there in the middle of the street. Beautiful and lyrical. And then every once in a while when guests got close to get cameras, they'd turn around and go, ah! And scare the crap out of them in the middle. And then they'd go right back into the dance. And it was like, oh my God, this is like something out of one of those woodcuts of a dance of death from the Middle Ages, when people, would draw these pictures as a parable for the Black Plague or something. It was just beautiful and wonderful. Like, what was that thing, that movie with Ingmar Bergman? The movie, The Seven Seal, and at the end, all the people have been taken by the Reaper. Yeah, are dancing with death, and in silhouette against the sea, or whatever it is, the Swedish movie. And it reminds me of that in a way. It's like, and the Reaper, as he appeared in that movie, directly inspired the Grim Reaper in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, who even speaks with a sort of accent, sort of vague European accent, who's become part of the show this year. Finally, after 26 years, the Reaper from Bill and Ted is a part of the show. And of course, it's the same year we've got a Reaper as our not icon, but he's not icon because he's not supposed to be the icon, but he is the icon. Good old Bone, who is basically the icon in everything but name, but fulfills every function of a freaking icon except being called one officially. And this then would be the iconic signature Scarezone for that character. And even though he's not it's still the signature Scarezone for the entire event, because we've been told the theme of the event, and this was told officially on both the blog and on the descriptions on the website, is the Festival of the Deadliest. Therefore, this is the cocktail for the entire event, really. And it's good. I love the zone. It's, some people don't get it, but then they aren't an old fuck like me who remembers the old zones, because there's so much of it that's like the old scare zones, especially right around 2005, and they had the stuff going on throughout Terra Cuentus, and you went around each island of adventure, and they had turned it into part of this continent. And you have the sexy dancers in Ironbone Gorge. Of course, they also had motorcycles, but it's really reminiscent of Ironbone Gorge, and a little bit of Dragon Forge as well, and of other things they've done before and since by having dancers on platforms or stages. Although all of the dancers are ladies, And some of the old days you'd have a hot guy dancer as well. Not that there aren't hot guys in the zone, because there's a couple of really hot guys who are scaring out there. And it's like, damn, can't see their face, but the body is like, wow. So, very pleasant. There's a couple of guys whose bodies are painted on, however, but there's at least one or two with legitimate bodies there. But some of them, you know, have like a body stocking that's got, you know, the abs and muscles all painted on. Yeah. But oh well, at least they tried. So, I really dig the Scarezone. Like I said, more than any other zone, I've spent more time sitting and watching stuff going on. Now, that doesn't mean it's sort of my favorite zone, I guess I have to say that. But Invasion is frickin' beautiful. Trick or Treat is lovelier than hell. I mean, I could watch Trick or Treat for a long time too, but there's really no good place to sit, and so much of it you have to go up and down to see it all, because it doesn't just happen, you know. In Festival of the Deadliest, you can sit in the middle and you can watch the whole action, because you're able to see it all from that vantage point. In Trick or Treat, if you sit like in one of the little benches up in one part of Central Park, you don't see what's happening the other end, because it kind of curves up a bit. And all the little action on little set pieces, because they have different stuff going on, you have to go up and down to see it. So it's not really a good place to sit and watch, but it's neat. It's neat, I gotta say, and it's lovely and beautiful. Invasion is very, very pretty as well. I suppose I could sit on a bench there and watch that one, but it's so crowded with guests. If you get on an off night, then you can probably get more of it, if we have any off nights. And the Purge is sheer insanity, and I love it. I love it. Altars of Horror is just a little sort of set piece that I think they're designed to avoid bottlenecks, and also to give some people a photo op if they can't get into all the houses. And of course you can't take pictures of the characters in the houses, so now you can get your picture with Bagul or the Grady twins or Papa Legba. You can't do it in the haunted house, but now you can outside. But of all the scare zones, and I love them all, but especially Trick or Treat, which is utterly beautiful, and Invasion, which is also gorgeous. But Festival of the Deadliest, for some reason, supersedes them in my heart, and it has become my favorite zone. And I spend quite a bit of time sitting in it, and going back to it, walking through it 2 or 3 times a night at least. And seeing what's going on. They haven't actually had a ritual, to my knowledge, on the main set like I thought they were going to. Maybe that's been scrapped. Maybe they never will. Maybe it was just the way. Maybe that was just not meant to be taken too literally. I don't know. But it's lovely. It's just lovely. I mentioned Bone looks like Skeletor when he has to take his stilts off. And all the other the little girls with the antlers and the white dresses have to take the stilts off. They're down on the ground. But when it's clear and not wet, he's up high on his stilts, and he's got this great big collar, sort of furry collar thing, and doesn't wear the hood, and looks more regal that way. Our Lord Reaper, I always tip my hat to him when I go by and say, "My Lord." I do want one of these nights, if I can, to offer a greater tribute. I've created a little poem for the Festival of the Deadliest, and I haven't had a chance. But one of these nights I may go up and be more, you know, bow a bit and give this little saying, which is, by raging fire. Oh, I screwed it up already. See, that's what happens when you have too much cocktails. Now, by burning fire, by raging flood, by sky and storm and stone. I offer up my meagre soul to the power of blood and bone. Yes, that's what I want to say to him. Probably in that sort of Vincent Price imitation voice. That would be funny. Holy crap, this video has gone over 40 minutes. I had no idea it was getting that long. I better wrap this up then. See, I've been drinking this and I got all that, so that's what happens. So, quickly, quaff this kind of penthe. And forget that lost Lenore. Yes. Oh, yes, po little me. And I'll go ahead and drink up the last bit of that. And then, next time, that shall be tomorrow, Saturday the 14th, I might do a video on the day, which would be history for 25. But I will hopefully absolutely do a cocktail when I come home once again from Horror Nights on the 19th night of the event, which is tomorrow night. And that would be my lovely cocktail for Altars of Horror. And what will that be? Nearly suicidal, let me tell you that. Think about the word suicide in reference to beverage. Think about what the Altars of Horror is, and you might get an idea. Alright, so I'm going to click this off now because it's already gotten way out of hand and this video has gone on forever. So, blessings to all in the name of blood and bone. Yes.